So like the video stated, this episode, I am finally going to paint something on a car besides spray paint and plasti dip. I know everybody's like, paint it yourself. Listen, when I have a painter and it is guaranteed it's going to be a good job when it's done, it's worth spending a little bit of extra money to do that. Being that this car is very cheap, Jerry's been really busy with work and stuff, I just thought I will try it on this one. It might not be good. It might be good. If it's okay, I'm going to roll with it because it's a Cobalt. This isn't some expensive car. I probably still will go to Jerry for paint work, but I'm going to try it this time and we're going to see how it turns out. The bumper is already prepped. This morning I went over this with a Scotch-Brite and I wet sanded it with a Scotch-Brite, and now I don't want to touch it, but it's smooth. Every little nick of dirt or anything that was in the primer is off of this thing, so I wiped it all down. Then I went over it with the wax and grease remover, wiped it down until I was getting nothing on the rag. So this bumper is ready to rock and roll right now. I have everything covered that really matters, and my paint gun is clean and adjusted and ready to go. Emptied the water out of my tank, emptied the water out of that. I just changed that desolate yesterday. As you can see, it's already semi-pink, a little bit of blue. Pink means it's got moisture in it, but I got a filter on this, so hopefully it keeps the moisture out. One thing you want to do with your regulators, make sure they are on the correct direction. I was messing with this and I kept messing with it, and I'm like, why will this not regulate right? It was releasing air. These actually have a direction on them. Right there, there is an arrow facing that way. I had it face the wrong direction, and it will not work if you do that. So now it's all adjusted, ready to go. This gun's pretty nice for the price. Harbor Freight, I think it was like $79, something like that. The quality is way better as opposed to the purple guns that they sell. So I'm hoping that this thing lays down good. I mean, it looks a lot better quality. If it'll, oh, look at that focus. Oh, this camera, I'm telling you. So, yes. And another thing is this gun doesn't come all oiled up like those cheap ones do. Like, it was clean. I didn't have to do anything with it. There's nothing on this gun. So, it's ready to rock and roll. Have the fan going. I need to wet the floor down over here. I did vacuum. Got some of the dirt up, but I'm going to bring the hose in. Spray, get this floor all wet over in this area so I don't kick up any dust. And we're going to go to town. But I'm going to change cameras because this camera is not going to be here when I'm doing this kind of stuff. So let me take this camera back inside and we'll continue on the other ones.
Scared of nothing, I was born in hell. We got the heat, the sinners, and the devil as well. And this kind of town, it just fans the flame. It don't mean nothing unless the world knows your name. And my friend plays a mean guitar. He writes the riffs and I sing the bars, and we practice in abandoned railroad cars. We sound like trash but think we're superstars. We were just young, dreaming the dream, and trying to make our name up on that local scene. Till late one night when my friend left town, and I started hearing music without the sound. I'm saving money, working the drive-thru, singing through the speaker, will that be all for you? Cashed it in and I bought that ride, just a pen, a paper, and my girl at my side said,
Alright, so this is 3 coats of the base coat. It looks pretty good. Really happy with it for my first paint job. I'm sure it looks a little rough right there. I don't know, there might be a little bit left in the gun, but still, I need to go clean the gun up, and we're going to put some clear in.
I've been searching and I meant to find it, but every curtain got a ghost behind it. I hear the voice of my grandma saying, go, but son, if you make it, don't forget about home. I'm getting high, getting drunk every weekend. Behind my girl's back, I've been sneaking. Hear the voice of my father saying, son, it don't mean shit unless you hit number 1. Is a den of thieves. I can't afford to live, I can't afford to breathe. Along that barrel I would scrape and scrape, till that beautiful day I went and made that mixtape. And label man says there's just too much sound, it's too personal, can you water it down? Forget that, I'm just gonna put this thing out. Let the universe decide if I should wear the crown. Long enough for you to put your iPhone down. Grandmama, there's my name in lights. I'm selling out arenas on a Tuesday night. So at your funeral I take us far. Still sound like trash, but I'm a superstar.
All in all, for my first time ever painting, is it perfect? No. I hardly have any trash in this. Like, this paint actually turned out really, really good. I'm happy with it. I do have runs in one area, and I do have a couple very small spots where I got fish eyes, and I think that's just from moisture in the system. You look right there, there's a spot. That's actually trash right there. There was one other spot I seen. There's a small spot right there. Besides that, man, I've finished. Oh, there. That's the spot I was thinking of right there. There's a small spot. And then I did get runs. I was just applying too much trying to get in the slats. And I got runs right there. Honestly, I'm not even... You seriously probably won't even see those once it's all dry and stuff. You could wet sand and buff those. That's going to be more work, and honestly, I might make it look better, but I might mess it up in the process. So it's gonna the finish on that looks good. Like, there's barely any orange peel. That shit is smooth. I'm telling you. I'm happy. I'm thrilled with that. This $80 gun from Harbor Freight, that thing works great. I like that. So the cheaper guns work really good for primer. The more expensive one here works really good for paint. I didn't want to chance it and try a cheaper gun. I bought that gun for the reason of painting. I used the same gun to do the paint as I did the clear, so I just cleaned it in between. That gave this enough time to flash. Flash time on this paint and clear coat is 5 to 10 minutes depending on your temperature. I was going closer to the 10-minute mark because it's about, I don't know, 65 degrees out. A little bit colder then, but honestly, I don't think next weekend would have been better temperatures. Like, this was perfect conditions, and that is why I went ahead and did it today. And I'm thrilled. I'm happy. And I'm just happy that I got one paint job out of the way. I'm not as scared now. It went on a lot easier than I thought. And maybe we'll do some more work in the future. So this needs about 45 minutes of dry time to, I guess, be dry to the touch. I'm going to leave it here for a while. And we'll come back later and see how it turned out. Alright, so this is, I don't know, an hour and a half later. I am going to have to do some fixes on this because my runs, I only seen the ones on that side. I got them even worse over here. Look at these runs right here. I mean, that is a BS for build job right there. Bruh. If I do say so myself. I need to have better lighting whenever I'm doing this, or just like set up some lights around. Turned out really good, but I will say I had them color match this, and the color to me is not the same as this. So, I mean, it's a cheap car, so I'm not redoing it. We're just going to roll with it, but let me get you in the light here so you can see. And, I mean, this isn't as shiny, but it looks like there's a little bit of a greener tint to this than there is to this. So, I don't know that it's going to be horrible, but I don't think it's going to match. Definitely will be able to tell when you put it on the car. You'll be able to see the difference. And the only way to actually like fix that, which I used all this paint, the only way to really fix that would be to blend it and re-clear both fenders. You'd have to do the hood and the fenders, blend it, and re-clear all those panels. And I'm not getting into that. This is not worth the time for that. So I've already put the bumper on. I just put the grill in, the emblem. I took that lip off the other one to put on the bottom. It's nothing sporty. It's just a black trim piece, whatever. I did fit it to the car. The color is off, but it's so minuscule, and the way the color is that it actually, you barely even notice it. And honestly, you barely even notice the runs either. They are bad, but I'm just going to take this as a learning experience. And next time I will try to not do it on the next car. So, you know, it is what it is. This is a cheaper car. So, like I said, I'm just going to roll with that. I did get oil, filter, and I got spark plugs because, well, first off, when I let this thing sit for several days, the battery drains itself. So, I have the battery out of that other one that was holding up better. I might switch that over. But whenever I start it up, it idles weird for a second and then sounds good and everything. And I'm just wondering, at 177,000 miles, have the spark plugs ever been changed? So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And I'm going to put the bumper on right now. So for my very first time painting, I think that is very nice. Your shade off. It has more green pigment in this paint as opposed to the color I painted. But it's so minuscule. It just depends on how you hit it. And being a cheaper car, I'm not really worried about it. Blending it would be the way to get that to match pretty much perfect, but I'm happy with it. Next time, I think, since this looked like it had newer parts on the front end, I'm wondering if it wasn't repainted and they probably went by factory paint code. I had them match the bumper. Obviously, their color was just a tad off, or it might not even be their fault. I did 3 coats of this paint. A 4th coat might have gave it enough pigment to make it match perfect. So I'm not going to blame the paint shop, because my cousin Jerry gets his paint from there. Although Jerry does mix his own colors, but really thrilled with the turnout on this. The battery drain problem was my own fault. The remote wire for the amplifier, I had just plugged it into the power wire, just straight to the positive on the battery, because I have no, like, it was just laying back here, and I forgot to disconnect it. So that's why I kept draining the battery, because the amplifier was on all the time. So figured that out. Already pulled a couple plugs out. Well, actually, I pulled all 4 out, and one of them had oil on it, and yeah, there, you can see it. There was oil all over this one, and I don't think that the valve cover is leaking. It was this cylinder right here. I wipe my finger the whole way through the inside of that, and it comes out dry. I'm wondering if it didn't have a valve cover leak, and they changed the gasket and just didn't bother cleaning them out. And every one of these plugs are in really, really good shape, as you can see. But putting the last one in, I went with NGK's. AC Delco is a factory, and that's what was in it. But these are not the original plugs. They were definitely changed out. So let me go ahead and change this last one real quick. We'll get it together. We'll start it up, let it run, get warmed up, and then we're going to change fluids. Now, not to knock my Audi S5 that I had, but this thing is a 2006 with 177,000 miles on it. The Audi was a 2008 with 167,000 miles on it, so 10,000 less, a newer year. Almost every one of those coil pack connectors on the Audi broke whenever I tried to disconnect them from the coil, because they were so brittle. This thing, every connector is fine. Everything is good. Nothing's brittle. So, like, you tell me that an Audi uses more expensive stuff, because this stuff is holding up better than what that Audi did. I'm going to tell you right now, there is no way, absolutely no way, that this car endured PA winters for its whole life. 177,000 miles on it. Now, I did just go over some spots with some rust reformer, and I didn't even need to. Those bolts had a little bit of rust, so I went over those. I want you to just look upon this underside, even the back. And I had a little bit of surface rust right here, so I hit that. The worst spot of rust was right there. And it's not even that bad yet. It was still surface rust. So I hit that with some rust reformer and just went over the mounts and stuff. But, I mean, like, are you seeing this? There's no way. This thing was in Pennsylvania its whole life. And if it was treated. Like, it almost looks like there is a film on it in a couple spots. But, yeah, this thing is freaking clean underneath. They just don't come this clean. Look at the engine. I want to show you this engine block. Not a single leak. Completely dry. I mean, this thing looks like it has a brand new engine in it. Now the front side tells a different story. There is oxidation on some things. Man, this thing is I can't believe how clean this is. It just blows my mind. So, I'm gonna change the oil. I'm just wondering, maybe it did have the engine replaced. I just can't believe how clean that is. Look at that thing. I went over the rims, sanded them, and I just went over them with rust converter because there was still a little bit of rust left. So, and that's all it needed to be was a flat black. So, all 4 wheels are done. Looks a lot better than seeing rust behind the hubcaps. The oil is changed, filters changed, spark plugs changed. Fires right up, runs great. Only thing I have left to do, I'm doing off camera, is I need to rewire the sub and everything in the trunk. And that is it. I might have to peel the tin off. This thing has tin on it, so that's another thing. It's not very dark, but I mean, Pennsylvania, with stupid laws, I mean, you can see in through it, but it's tinted. So the stereo, I got to redo every wire and stuff. Run the remote wire to the fuse box in the front, and I need to run the bass controller up to the front up there. But that's going to be it for this episode. I have an extra long weekend coming up, and tomorrow I'm going to the Cobalt yard to look around, possibly bid the next day. If I don't get anything that day, the same day, I'm going to go to another auction yard. They'll be split up. There'll be 2 videos. Go to the other auction yard, look at some vehicles. There's one vehicle. One vehicle I want to look at. It's a truck, and it has 528,000 miles on it. The thing looks brand new. Just a bumper. It's got bashed in the front. Runs and drives. It's amazing. So I want to look at that thing. If I win something Thursday, that's not going to happen. So, if you guys like this video, smash that like button. Leave me a comment. Just write something down there. Say you like the way I shake it. 'Cause you do! Consider subscribing. Hit that dislike button if you want to see me shake it more. And we'll see you on the next episode of Unwrapped.
To save the boy this morning. He had difficulties. I seen him walking weird and looking at his butt. You had a turd stuck, didn't you? We saved you. Huh? Yeah, I know. It was awkward, wasn't it? And Sissy was looking at you like, what's wrong with brother? It's a good thing we fixed him up, huh? All right. Peace out.